Hello everyone and welcome to the Extreme TIG channel. Today's video we're going to do on a 12-inch carbon pipe. It's going to be a TIG route and hot pass. Just going to show you a little technique what I like to do out in a field, especially when it's not everything perfect like in a shop. I'm gonna show you a combination of freehand and walking the cup. As you can see, we got a high-low on the bottom, on the top, pretty much all the way around. I try to split difference as much as I can. We did transition, but usually the 90 is always different than the rest of the pipe. If I can, I like to have high-low on the top, way better than on the bottom. If you got on the top high-low, you can always compensate that with the gravity. It might work for you. It's gonna just sag down and make a nice uniform route. But for the bottom part, I like to have it even. Okay, for this video, you're gonna use 70S6 TIG filler wire. I really like that rod. Got lots of silicone in it. It's easy to control, easy to manipulate, way better than 70S2 or 70S V2L. Okay, for stick out, I like to do 10 mil approximately, but the reference I like to do, always check by the depth of your bevel when it's touching, when your tip of the tungsten is inside the edge of the bevel. That's what I like to usually do. Okay, for the bottom part, we're going to do freehand with a constant feed. That's something I like to do when I got high-low. When you do a constant feed on the bottom all the way up to the 9 o'clock, keeping that wire inside that bevel, as you can see here. I like to do a heavier route, and then if you got high-low, that's all gonna be covered and you're not gonna even see it. Okay, here preheat sides, dip one side, the other side, make a connection, and hold that rod inside that puddle, inside that bevel. Just do consistent feed, constant feed. You can see I'm holding it inside that bevel. You don't want to have a shallow root on the bottom, especially for the hot pass. If you got suck back, and it's gonna be, that might be really tricky, especially for the X-ray. I might see it as not enough penetration. Okay, I'm going to have my freehanding all the way up to the 9 o'clock. No rush, take your time, adjust your settings so you can handle that amperage. As I said in earlier videos before, I like to do heavier route on my TIG welding, especially for that sag back, just to prevent that sag back, as I like to run hot on the hot passes. Someone even asked me, how can you handle that, how can you go that hot on your, are you not afraid of sag back? Well, not really. It all depends how much you can handle the amperage. You know, that's why I like heavier route. So even if I got, like, you can see it here, you're not gonna get a really big sag back on on that route, but you always go with the settings how much you can handle. We're gonna go up to 12 o'clock. Always grind your stop starts. This is a root tack. We're just gonna feather it out, and we got a bridge tack on the top. I'm just gonna remove that. As I said, good habit to grind the stop starts, especially if you gotta do hard pull on your TIG torch if you don't have remote on it, so you can stop properly. And always when you always create, you know, some kind of pinhole or crater when you do a hard pull. That's why I like it. It's just a good habit, you know, grind stop starts. Okay, we got a root tack here on 9 o'clock. Just gonna feather it out both sides. So once we go over it, you're gonna pause on side and just go over it. Nice. So you got a nice smooth connection. You want to blend that out. Nice blend connection, I mean. Okay, same thing, we're gonna do freehand. Before I get to that tack, I'm gonna pull that rod out, start dipping, especially when I'm going over it. I'm gonna pause and adding some wire. Okay, on your start, preheat. Once it starts melting, add rod and just keep it inside that puddle. Just be consistent with that feed. I'm always keeping my rod inside the bevel when I'm going on my way up at 9 o'clock. Now before we get to that tack, I'm gonna pull the rod out. As you can see it now, I'm holding it inside, doing constant feed. Constant feed or just keeping that rod inside the puddle all the time. Okay, now I'm gonna pull the rod out. And I'm gonna dipping technique here to make that nice blend connection with that root. Like any tie-ins, you wanna pause on sides. When you go over it, you don't have to go too fast, but you don't have to go too slow either. Add some wire. You don't like, in case you pause too long, it might open on you too much. As you can see here, it started opening. That's why you want to add that wire so it doesn't open that much. And from now on, I'm just gonna continue with a dipping technique. Something I like to do. Pretty much that's what I'm always doing. It's just a habit. I'm always doing constant feed at the bottom, and from 9 o'clock to 12 I'm doing dipping technique. Especially if you got a high-low like in this case, then you're 100% sure you're gonna burn those edges. The good thing about dipping technique is that you control the amount that you're actually depositing in, especially if you're not skilled enough to control the amount you're depositing, especially if you're doing constant feed. As I said before, there's a couple tricks with the constant feed if you're not really good at it. You might just stick it on those edges, not actually burn it. So especially if you're starting out, you know, or if you're not so skilled, dipping technique is something that I will recommend. You're not gonna have any welding failures with that technique. Okay, now we're gonna stop before that tack. Yeah, we're gonna cut it out, clean it, grind a little bit your stops there, and we're gonna go all the way up to 1 o'clock. That's where we're gonna stop. For the top part, you always lower your amperage if you want. You don't have to go run hot as you did on the, I like to do like a little bit hotter on the bottom. I change my amperage very rare. It all depends from the fit up. But for example, if you go on the bottom 130, 140, after 9 o'clock you want to lower down maybe 120, so you can control that that settings you got current, so you can handle that amperage. You don't have any grapes inside, especially on the top part. As I said, the gravity will do the rest. That's why you don't want to keep that rod like inside that bevel, like for the bottom part, or even on the sides. On the sides sometimes they do like 50-50, half rod outside, half rod inside. But on the top part, you keep the rod outside, 1/8 from that, let's say 1/8 from that edge outside. So once you burn it, the gravity will do the rest. It'll make you nice and uniform root. Okay, for the other side, same thing. Preheat that start. You can grind it out a little bit. Preheat, and the same thing. Keep that rod inside while you're progressing up all the way up to 9 o'clock. You always want to do freehand. That's something that you want to practice. Freehand is always option number one. Yeah, you know what? Like honestly, with freehand, my root looks way better than when I'm wiggling or walking the cup on my for my root pass. You just focus more. You got more control, you know. And for walking the cup, gotta be ideal in conditions, you know. But out in the field, that's not gonna happen. Maybe in a shop, yeah. But in a field, it's that's what you want. You want a freehand. You want to train your hands to freehand, and you can do combination. That's why I like to freehand all the way up to 9, and then you can see here I rest my cup inside that bevel, and now I'm slowly walking the cup. So that's especially when your hands get, you know, shaky, tired, then you can, that's how you rest your arm. Okay, we did that root on this side. That's more than good. Okay, we're gonna grind that out. And then we're gonna go up to connection to close that gap. Okay, when starting, always pause a little bit, preheat, add that wire. Dipping technique, as you notice, that's what I like to do on my previous videos. If you watched, you see that's something I like to practice. It works in multiple cases. If you got closed gap, or if you just start gap closing on you, dipping technique is something you want to do. You want to open it side to side, adding wire. You know you're gonna burn those edges. You're gonna put that in. If you're just holding that rod constant feed and then melting it like here, and then your gap start closing, everything might happen. You might just cover those edges and actually not burn them. But with dipping technique, you know 100% sure you burn those edges and you pull that rod in. Okay, on the top part, as I said, you want to dip. Just dip, hold that rod above that edge. So when you're doing tie-in, you want to pause one side, other side, one side, other side, and slowly connect. You don't have to rush here. You want that gravity works for you. You want to burn those edges. You want to make nice blend connection. And always go over like ½ inch, inch, whatever you like, but yeah, usually minimum ½ inch. You want to go over it and stop. So always stop on the side, especially if you're doing hard pull. Okay, this root pass is done. You can run buffing wheel just to clean, make it clean, remove any impurities you got. Okay, for the hot pass, you can wiggle inside that groove, or you can do a freehand. I'm going to do a freehand. On the bottom there's not much room actually to walk that cap inside. For a hot pass, I'm running 140 or 150, holding my rod inside that middle. It's going to be in the middle, and then just go side to side, switching that paddle. You want to go slow, small steps. You want to fill those sides. So the same thing, once I get to at 9 o'clock, I'm just gonna rest my cup inside and just try to walk the cup on the hot pass. Even if I got for this video, I'm using cup size 7. If I got 8 or 10, they'll be even better. With a smaller cup on a bigger groove, you got, you know, it's a little bit harder to control. So if you got a bigger cup, that might work perfect. Yeah, you can go as much as you can handle that amperage. You can go hot, or you don't have to go hot. Hot pass is not about going hot, but it all depends how much you can handle. I like to go hot usually. Okay guys, that's it. From now on it'll be 7018 fill and cap, and I'm not going to do that for this video. This is just a root and hot pass. There's lots of shutdown season now in Alberta, so I hope there's going to be lots of videos. There's not always time that you can actually record all those welds. As you know, I might get fired for that, as you need special permit. But I do what I can, and when I can. I would like to thank you for your continued support. Thank you for watching. Any suggestions, comments, feel free to comment. See you in the next one.